Welcome everybody to another Indie Dev Showcase video here on the channel. Every week, we play nothing but indie games to show off smaller and upcoming games, and these videos are the recaps of it. If you'd like to submit a game for a future piece, please get in touch. But otherwise, these games that you're going to be seeing are going to be from the Steam Festival that we got a chance to play, and there may be a few press-related ones as well. We're beginning with Omno. This is a passion project of an open-world 3D platform. It's been in development, I believe, for a few years now. And from what I played of this on stream, it is definitely has some charm to it. The game is going for the, mysterious world, look around, just, play around with the space kind of design to it. If you're hoping for more of the structure of something like a Mario game, I don't know if it's going to go there, at least not from the version that we played. But our idea is that we are exploring the strange world, looking for energy, those Explorer Stones / MacGuffins, completing puzzles to unlock new areas, and just moving around. Our main bit of tech, or kind of our abilities, seem to revolve around the staff that allows us to do like teleporting or dashing, as well as activate switches and other unique things. In terms of the gameplay, from what I played, it feels relatively solid for what this version of was. And again, this was a demo of one of their builds, so I don't think this was considered like an official or fully updated version. From what I played, the puzzles definitely seem to be revolving around puzzle platforming, so figure out how to get to whatever that MacGuffin that you see up there is. And other than that, there really isn't a lot to say about Omno right now, because again, it's still in its very early in development, or early in terms of being revealed. But I am definitely keeping an eye out on this one. Again, I love platformers and I want to see more of them out there, so this one could certainly fit that bill. Moving on, we turn to the Waylanders. So this game is very interesting. The development team, I believe, are a lot of former ex-BioWare developers, and there was a lot of prestige around the people making this one. Now, the version that we played of this was, I think, relatively early in its early access period, or just a very early build of it. But this is kind of like a very Dragon Age-esque kind of design. So it's real time, but you are free to pause and issue commands to your various characters. I built some kind of like Wolverine looking guy here. And the story goes through kind of multiple time periods, and it is going to be probably as grandiose as one would come to expect from a game made by ex-BioWare developers. Now, from what we played, the game opens up with you kind of having free reign to decide what your main character is going to be, your race or species that determines passive bonuses, and then you get into the combat here. And yeah, it's definitely more on kind of like the passive issue a command than just kind of fire and forget. If you're hoping for more of an ARPG, a Diablo-like, or Dark Souls-esque, the Waylanders does not seem to go that route. This is one of those games where characters can throw boulders at you and they magically hone in, because whether or not they hit was already decided the second they issue that command. And as somebody, if you're regular here, you know how much I do not like RPGs of this kind. So, unfortunately, the Waylanders is probably going to be a hard pass for me. But again, this is, I think, a game that's aimed at the BioWare audience. If you do enjoy this kind of, again, plausible real-time of something like Dragon Age and, more of a classic CRPG kind of design along those lines, I would say this one would work for you. But for me, I'm going to be keeping far away from this one, I think, going forward. As we move on, we turn to Do Not Play This Game. And yes, that is the name of this one. For fans of titles such as the Stanley Parable, or kind of narrator-centric kind of designs, this is the game that kind of follows that mold. The voice that you're hearing in the background is our omnipresent game developer telling us to not buy this game. And it's one of those titles that I feel is more of an art piece rather than a video game product to play. And I think your tolerance for this is how much you enjoyed something like the Stanley Parable in terms of that, game but not a game kind of experience. And we played the version that you're seeing. This was a demo that we saw on one of the Steam festivals, and it seemed okay. Again, games like this, it's kind of hard to judge on their mechanics. But I think this will only appeal to a very specific audience. And if the idea of playing a game where the developer just keeps telling you not to play it doesn't interest you, then nothing is probably going to change your mind otherwise. With that said, we're going to take our quick break now. When we come back, we got 3 more games to look at for this video. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. For our next game, this is Shapes.io, and the simplest way of describing this one would be minimalistic Factorio. And that right there probably has a lot of people's ears perking up after hearing that. Now, one very important thing to keep in mind about the footage that you're seeing. This was played a few months ago during the summertime, at the time of this recording, and since then, the game has seen multiple updates and new content added. So what you see on screen here may not represent the current version, and this was played with a press key provided by the developer. So for this one, like I said, this is minimalistic Factorio, but there is a lot more structure to it. How this works is that you need to feed this machine in the middle various different parts or shapes. When you complete enough of the requirement, you quote-unquote level up, which unlocks new pieces, which also unlocks new things to deal with. This includes sorting them, cutting them, rearranging them, reattaching, adding color, and I'm sure even more to it. Now, the board itself, I believe it is procedurally generated at the start. I cannot confirm this, at least in the current version that's out there. But this whole game, again, is that assembly line min-max optimization that we've come to expect from these kinds of games. And one thing that I do like is that the game features a research or upgrade system. By feeding other parts to your machine here, you'll build up a tab that when it hits the right threshold, you unlock an upgrade. This can include increasing the speed of conveyor belts, how much things can be sorted, and it just adds that very nice sense of progression to it. And there's the upgrade screen right there. Now, as you get further into the game, of course the complexity grows, and part of this game is the fact that you're going to have to assemble, disassemble, and then reassemble your various assembly lines as your needs change. And I really like this one. It has, again, that kind of idle slash optimization bend that I really like. And the kind of assembly line design, again, just speaks right out of Factorio. Now, with that said, I've been, saying that name a lot in the last few minutes. This is definitely not Factorio. If you're looking at this and hoping for that level of complexity and emergent gameplay, that is not going to be in Shapes.io, at least in what I've seen. Now, the developer is still updating the game as we speak. I don't know at the moment how much there's going to be in terms of future content, but if you like the concept of Factorio, and you're either looking for something a little bit easier or a Factorio Lite to play, definitely pick up Shapes.io. With that said, our next game is Chaos Galaxy, and this is one that it's a very specific niche of this audience, but if you fall in it, I think you're going to find a game to enjoy. This is essentially if Romance of the Three Kingdoms combined with Gundam, and take all that complexity of the Romance series along with it. So you control one of various empires in the galaxy, and it's up to you to build, maintain, and try to spread your faction out the stars through your commanding officers, your armies, mechs, spaceships, etc., etc. And unfortunately, any footage that I show will not do this game any justice, because this is definitely on the high end of the scale in terms of complexity. If games like Stellaris, Crusader Kings, or even the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series scares you off, do not even attempt to play this game, because it has similar levels of complexity and depth. My problem for me is that it features a tutorial that just did not work in terms of trying to teach me what it is that I should be doing or what is even happening on screen. The game has a tactical layer that is turn-based as you maneuver your ships and mechs around. There is a I think there is an actual rock, paper, scissors system to how your armies interact. There's research, there's diplomacy, there's missions. There's a lot to this game. And unfortunately, it's a little too much for me. And like I said, this is aimed specifically at those fans of the very numbers-heavy, very complicated games like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series. And if you do enjoy those, I would definitely say give this one a check. But if you found those titles to be a little too crunchy, a little too complicated for you, then this game is not going to change your mind or turn you into a fan. With that, we have one final game for this video, and this is Colony Siege. Now, this one was played with a press key, and this is from an early access build from a few months ago, and may not represent the current version of it. What we have here is a tower defense game, with kind of the key hook or twist is that we have kind of a small RTS army or RTS combat that we can use alongside our towers. So each map has enemies invading from multiple positions, and we're able to send out units as well as build turrets, walls, and all that other great tower defense kind of gameplay in order to stop the enemies. We also have a ship that you can see on the screen right there that can fly around, attack, and it's also used for our building. So if it gets knocked out, you're going to have to wait for it to come back online before you can do anything else. What the game does in terms of progression is that each map can be played with different difficulty levels, which will give you more experience or resources. By completing maps, you'll be able to choose different upgrades, or at least this is what was in the version that I played. And these upgrades unlock either new tech that can be used to enhance your units and towers, or just unlocking new structures or options going forward. Now, another interesting aspect of Colony Siege is that every map is its own unique biome. So there's going to be different pathing, different things you can make use of. Such as the ice that's on the ground there, I believe it slowed down enemies or affected them in some way. Now, one thing you've probably noticed by the maps I've shown so far is that these are some very huge, there's a lot of real estate to cover. And I think this was done on purpose, as you need to have kind of your standing army on standby to not only deal with any stragglers, but also stop them or provide additional firepower while you're laning and setting things up along those lines. I think from what we played, I like what I saw. It does seem to follow that same kind of style as something like Defense Grid, and a few other tower defense games where the progression and the persistence kind of handicaps you at the start. you don't have access to a lot of towers or a lot of options. There's also, I think, special abilities your ship can do, and you're going to be kind of forced to replay certain maps because you simply don't have the tech or the upgrades in order to beat them perfectly on your first try. And if you don't like that kind of design, you may not like Colony Siege. Now, again, keep in mind that this was played very much like Week 1, Week 2 of it being in early access, and I'm sure there has been updates and balance changes since we played this. But I definitely like what I saw, and I'm always interested in seeing elevated or new takes on tower defense gameplay. So definitely keep an eye on this one if you are a fan. With that said, we're going to wrap up this week's Indie Spotlight. I would like to thank all the games that were shown. You'll find links to their store pages down below. If you are working on an indie game that you'd like me to take a look at, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And every Wednesday night stream is going to be our indie showcases, so be sure to tune in live for that. But with all that said, as always, check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below, where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it. And tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.